What's up, everybody? We back with another message, another video. Thank you to all my new subscribers and future new subscribers. You know we do nothing here without God because everything is spiritually led by God over here. We cover the world from a spiritual and physical aspect to get the raw, real, and uncut answers. So anything you hear, anything you see in these end times, may you test the spirits, aka take the words and visuals back to God in prayer, as there are many Decepticons running around in these end times sent from the enemy. Had that strong, close, and personal relationship with God, okay? So we got a little loaded message regarding, wealth transfer, lessons and words from God to God, trying to get out to people here today, okay? So May 7th dream, we're just going to start off with that in the morning, because my dreams be all over the place and all different times, every day, every night, whenever I close my eyes. um, Basically, this dream was about unwanted company after the wealth transfer. And I seen these people, and he gave me this dream twice, two different types, or whatever, however you want to put it. He had people, or he was showing me people walk up to me or be near me, and I knew it was after the wealth transfer, right? I knew it. And I could tell they was only coming up to me because of the finances that were given. They were very short, but yeah, they were definitely unwanted company. So when it comes down to it, you want to make sure that you aren't telling everybody everything after the wealth transfer happens. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that because see, people that weren't on your team before or didn't like you or all of the sort along those lines, they didn't like you. They're not gonna be on your team legitimately after the wealth transfer. They're gonna come back, try to get with you, try to be friends with you because of what? Because you got it now. What they looking for. You got things they won't have. Because, see, you got to remember, people going to get things taken from them, and it's going to come to you if you lined up for this. But unwanted company. So that's why it's important. We get excited and we want to tell everybody, but can't. We can't. Because it's just going to attract the wrong company. So move silently. All right? Don't everybody need to know your business. The enemy has sent somebody after you to take everything from you, especially people that he knows are weaker spiritually and don't have the best discernment. So make sure you move silently and just mind your business. Even when it comes to family and friends, like, not everybody needs to know what you got. You got to ask for what? Permission before you give. Because look, let's say you give to the wrong person, like somebody is on drugs or something like that, and you don't know it, but they asking for funds. You give them funds. What happens? They spend it on the wrong thing. See, your heart was in the right place, but theirs wasn't. So God made them be poor because he wanted to wean them off of that and make them depend on him and call to him and pull them away from the enemy. And you undoing that and unknowingly. You get what I'm saying? So even with family, some people's hearts ain't in the right place. Now, this is where God will test you. Sometimes he'll send you an angel to see if you're going to give and how you're going to give, or if you're going to be ignorant about those things. He'll teach you. He'll show you. He'll test you. Using one of his angels appearing as a poor person. Or putting you in that situation where, do you ask him or do you just do it just because? You get it? That's how you get gypped out of the blessing. Now, this next part is resentment and forgiveness. Sometimes people do us wrong, right? Before we receive these big blessings. And just like God forgave you and put you in alignment with the blessing, you are to forgive those people, because you can't carry resentment with you to the new. You got to let that go and let God deal with that. You'll block your blessing this way. So just like God forgave you and aligned you in this, you are to forgive other people. And sometimes he may have you bless these same people that hurt you, just to show them, even though you hurt them, they still was obedient to me and blessed you. And that'll be the first and last time they ever do it. And this is the person that you treated like this. So you will never have access to them again. That's how he get his revenge on people. You ain't got to worry about that. And I hear the Lord say blessings are coming. But are you ready? Are you? See, the blessing is ready, but people aren't. And I explain why. So let's start off with permissions. Remember how I was telling you guys the last video about asking for permission? There are some people in these coins that need to ask for permission from God first, but they haven't, because they're just seeking that monetary value because they don't have God. Some are desperate to get out of their situations, and that's, it happens. We really do. That's how we feel when we're ready to leave something. But you don't just get to decide what you do, okay? Permissions is very important. And the Lord was telling me many people are going to learn valuable lessons from this. This first wave that is going to happen of other things, not in ways people expect, are going to happen. So certain people that are ready are going to get blessed. Others are going to have to learn a valuable lesson because they aren't ready for the Shiba Inus, the XRPs, all that stuff. They're not ready for the stuff on the exchanges, the big exchanges. They're not ready for that. More so. So the Lord is saying, people are just looking for a token address off rip soon as they hear something. But then when something don't happen, they want to get upset with the person. Did you ask God? Okay. Sharing dreams and visions. This next part. And people going to get mad about this. Sometimes, and I get these one or two people that will say, who are you to tell somebody what to share and what not to share, what to do and what not to do? Somehow they have this talent where they selectively skip over the parts where I say I've asked God, or God told me, or God said. Like, they skip over all those parts, and it's because the message is given that conviction, they're doing it, they don't want to accept it. And I always get those one or two people that will say that or do that because that's probably what they doing. But yeah, yes, God told me all these things, ladies and gentlemen. He said that. So don't selectively hear over it and think it's an opinionated thing. It's not. Sharing dreams and visions. See, everybody's at different levels in the spirit, okay? And not everybody is considered having the responsibility of being a messenger of the Lord. So dreams and visions are communication from God to everyone. That could happen, But to be put in a role as a messenger of God, it takes months of training. For me, God put me through months of training. And he was teaching me the ins and outs. I made mistakes. And this is before I had this type of following and platform. Like, I made mistakes in that part. I was learning about the gifts. I was receiving new things I never experienced before. I was learning valuable lessons while letting go of things that were still needed to be taken care of by God. So I wasn't ready for this particular blessing and platform until then he decided I was. And I walked right into it based on obedience. But anywho, sharing dreams and visions, not everybody's permitted to be a messenger. So sometimes the enemy, and the Lord told me, the enemy is going after the weaker in the body of Christ. And just in general, when it comes to this wealth transfer. So I'll give you an example. When it comes to your dreams and visions, some people receive dreams and visions about something crashing, but they had realized, oh, I got buy sell limit orders in the dream. So that could be God's way of telling you to set it, or to show you and reassure you that something's going to happen, but you aren't going to be affected. Whereas other people, God could also be warning people that shouldn't be in something that they're going to lose their money, right? By giving them a dream of them losing everything. But and this is based on you knowing what you prayed to God about in your personal relationship. You will know based off what you prayed for. So he'll give you confirmation. But if you speak too much about the particular numbers that you saw or that you received, I received X $1,000,000,000, the devil will take that information because he listens. This is why he'd be telling people to be quiet. He listens and will give those certain dreams to people he knows will be affected and may be able to spread false narrative to other people. So the weaker he'll stem that from, and they'll say, oh my goodness, I had this dream that I lost everything. And then this might cause people to panic and move out of position. You see how that works? So if you aren't permitted to speak, and you're not trained up and understand the importance of this, you shouldn't. And it's okay to share dreams of experiences and whatnot, but this is about a blessing. So you got to be careful with blessings. Like you can't just be talking knowingly. You just can't be talking unknowingly. Like the rapture, let's say this, for example. It's okay to share a dream about that, but you got people that will say, oh, God told me a date. But he wouldn't, because he tells us he never would. Nobody knows the day, the hour, the time, right? So when it comes down to that, you've got to understand that there are people that will believe these dates and then get disappointed or stop doing what they were going to do because they think, oh, it's time to go. But the reason he doesn't give you the date is because you're going to do just that and not do what you're supposed to do while you're here. And the enemy will know the date. So that's why he doesn't do that. But so it was clear that those people did not particularly receive instruction to speak like that out in the dream. That's the example I'm using. And it's dangerous because it can affect other people in the process. Just like with this wealth transfer as far as the blessing goes. That's why we got to be careful, because you don't know. If you don't know fully what it means, don't be quick to share it, because you might be hurting other people in the process. People will be like, what's the token address? Can you please tell me the token address? Did you ask God? Do you even know this is a legitimate thing that's going to happen, that's supposed to happen? You listening to a person or you listening to God? Y'all see what I'm talking about here? This might be a big blessing for the body of Christ, but it's an individual blessing for you. And you don't just go telling everybody, like, let's say this wasn't the wealth transfer. Let's say you getting a new this or a new that or a new whatever you need, and God gonna bless you with it. You ain't gonna tell the world about it, because you know the devil gonna try to deceive you with that information if he finds out about it. That's why God is telling people to move in silence, because multiple lessons are going to be learned, which is this next part. The Lord is telling me multiple lessons are going to be learned. This first wave of things that are going to happen, and I ain't talking about, I don't even know what it's all going to be. He ain't even revealed all of what it's going to be. And some of it he told me to be quiet about. But this first wave is to see those who get blessed, how you going to do it? Are you really ready? And for those that aren't going to get it because they didn't ask for permission, or they just rushing into stuff, he going to teach them a lesson in that way. Now, there's other people that are more on the wrathy side of God, where they're just using him, or, oh, I don't believe this, but I'm going to just in case, like, oh, he going to deal with them too. So everybody got their own lesson to learn here, and tests being done before the big, right? Will you spend it on things like Ledger Nanos to get yourself situated and prepared? Will you do wisely with the little things? Okay. And, when it comes to prophet mistakes and misconceptions, some people have attacked certain prophets, especially last year, over the main crypto, but God delayed, because people weren't going back to him first. He saw this. And like I tell you guys, prophecy isn't easy. It's dangerous. It's a gift from somebody that does this every day, all the time, receive messages from the Lord and communication. I'm telling you, it's going to take months of training. You can't just get on here and speak. There are rules, regulations. There's, through God, there's things that you do's and don'ts. Don't make it fear-based. Just make sure it's leading back to me or him. That's what he said it to me. People, he's building up messengers in this hour. And some have made mistakes about speaking on these new things when they weren't supposed to. like these newer coins, some people made the mistake of speaking about that. And it led to unnecessary attacks. Because God had showed maybe certain people, but he didn't show the world. He was, if you don't, one thing about a prophet or a messenger of the Lord, they're going to hear God's voice and receive downloads for interpretation of the dream. That's just what's going to happen. He's not just going to give it to you and then send you out to speak on something you don't know you're talking about. That's not how that works. So if you don't receive the downloads, if you know you're not supposed to speak, then don't, because God didn't permit you. Again, people going to be upset about this, but that's something that you have to realize is very dangerous. This gift is crucial to success of people, to lead people closer to him, and you got to be careful. You got to actually spend time with the Lord so that you can understand what's going on, because it's dangerous. And this wealth transfer people don't even want to receive words from God other than if it's about the wealth transfer. That's sad, because that means that's all you care about, and God gonna deal with that accordingly if you are somebody like that. So God can have a word for you dealing with your heart to prepare you for the wealth transfer, but people be like, I don't want to hear nothing unless it's involving the wealth transfer. Well, he see what you said, he hears what you say, and he gonna deal with that. Because then that means you're not ready. This summer gonna be crazy, y'all. So get prepared. Get these Ledger Nanos. Start practicing. God gives you warnings about what's coming ahead of time so that you can have time, so you don't have to rush. Take your time with God, but don't be stagnant. You understand? Move with God. Take your time with God, and let's get knowledgeable. Let's get walking. Because if you waste time, then that's how you get messed up. God gonna pull the trigger on this eventually, and he gonna say, well, I kept telling you personally what to do, but you wouldn't move because you were afraid, But he gonna bless you still, but why go through that when you could have just received the instruction in the first place? Y'all get what I'm saying here? It's a lot of stuff going on, and we've got to be careful how we're moving. All right? So that's what he got me talking about here today. That's what he got me talking about. It's going to be a lot. There's going to be disappointment, and it's going to be celebration and lessons to be learned here as messengers are being built up. People with their gifts in general are being built up. Your heart is changing. There's going to be a lot of lessons, and he doesn't do it because he doesn't love you. He does it because he loves you. He's got to prepare you for a tough time so that you don't get deceived, because that could be life or death, getting deceived, seriously. Not even just about the wealth transfer. So he's got to train you. All right? Peace and blessings, and I will catch you in the next one.